Hello, it's Anna Hill here with the Farming Today podcast. Businesses are told to get ready for EU alignment, but
while the government may be saying it's important that you plan, until you know what the rules are and when it's going to be implemented from and what transition arrangements look like, it's very, very difficult to prepare.
We'll have more on that a little later. First, all week we're assessing the state of upland farming across the UK. In Scotland, 70% of agricultural land is classed as uplands, and most of those farms have sheep, many also have beef cattle, and forestry is also a big part of Scottish farming. Agriculture is devolved, and the Scottish Government has until now held on to the direct payments which existed under the pre-Brexit EU system. That's being phased out, and upland farmers are concerned that under the new rules they could lose out. Professor Davy McCracken is Deputy Head of the Hill and Mountain Research Centre at the Scottish Rural College, SRUC.
Most of our upland farmers are sheep farmers, and some also have beef cattle as well. In recent years, though, we've seen quite a decline in the uplands of both sheep and cattle, with the decline of sheep in the uplands being disproportional to the overall sort of decline that we've seen across Scotland. The good thing at the moment, if you're an upland sheep or beef farmer, is that the prices are holding up extraordinarily well compared to sort of recent years.
Upland farming has to be central, doesn't it, to the Scottish Government's system of payments to farmers. Now, they've maintained basic payments post-Brexit. What's available?
At the moment, Scottish Government have maintained what's called the basic payment in the new agricultural support packages that will become available from 2027. That basic payment will still come with a range of additional environmental conditions. And that basic payment is available to all farmers and crofters across Scotland. With regard to those farmers in the uplands of Scotland or out in the crofts, they can also get support from less favoured area support. There's also currently a sustainable upland sheep support scheme. Less favoured area support can be a big portion of government support coming into hill farming and crofting.
There are a lot of different pressures on land use. What about the uplands in Scotland? What are the different pressures? You haven't got housing to worry about, but you have got woodland creation, carbon markets, things like that will alter what farmers are thinking of doing.
The main pressures in Scotland's uplands, as opposed to maintaining farming or crofting, are twofold. In recent years, there's been a large number of mainly international consortia buying up large areas of uplands to benefit from the carbon market by maybe restoring and maintaining peatlands or converting some of that upland area to woodland and particularly forest, gaining both government support to actually do the planting and then carbon income in order to actually maintain those forests going forward. So that is making it challenging for many hill farmers and crofters to expand their own businesses because the price of land is being markedly inflated.
Although there are opportunities, aren't there, for upland farmers with things like carbon sinkage and natural capital. So there could be rewards in a different approach.
Our uplands in Scotland, as in elsewhere, they have a huge, indeed a vital role to play in not only continuing to produce food in high quality, beef and lamb, but also they have a very important role to play in biodiversity management, in carbon sequestration, helping to restore our peatlands, engage themselves in integrating trees and woodland more fully into their farming system. And also our uplands we don't have a huge problem with water quality, but we have a huge role for upland land managers to be managing water quantity going forward and trying to hold back some of the increasing amount of rainfall we're going to see from extreme rainfall events and because of climate change. There's a big ask on a lot of our upland farmers and crofters. There's a recognition that they have a big role to play in that. It's not always being recognised, though, as yet, and financially to make it viable for them to continue the land management and get these multiple benefits from it.
Professor Davy McCracken, well, as he just mentioned, peatlands are one of the most valuable sources of carbon storage, and they provide important habitats for wildlife and plants too. But UK peatlands face challenges from development, intensive land use and a changing climate. Next week, the International Union for the Conservation of Nature will be holding their UK Peatland Conference in Swansea, and across Wales, the National Peatland Action Programme is working to improve these precious sites. In the Cambrian Mountains, the project has been so successful that water voles have now populated the area. Marie-Claire Kerry-Jones joined Rob Bacon, a specialist officer with the programme, to try to find signs of their presence.
This site is Cambrian. It's a peat mass that's formed in the bottom of a valley since the last ice age. We're getting an increase in the indicator species, so the sphagnum mosses and cotton grasses and things. We've also got water voles.
And there's some surface water movement over there. Could that be water voles?
It could be. You often hear a plop if they drop out of their burrows into the water.
But they're quite elusive, aren't they?
Yes, I haven't seen one here to date. We just see the field signs of them. I was just having a look in here, and there's sort of, potential little passage routes through all the vegetation and stuff. And you see that there?
Oh, yes.
These will be bits of food that have been chewed up. That little bit of rash there, it's been chewed off on a 45-degree angle.
Oh, yes. Almost like it's been cut with a knife.
That drop in there, I'll pick it up. If you look at the size of it, it's about the size of a generous tic-tac, and it's rounded on both ends. Those are a couple of water vole droppings, so there's definitely been one around here, which is really nice to see.
And where we're standing, it looks like really healthy peatland, but it hasn't always looked like that, has it?
This area would have been quite a bit of exposed peat, so it was getting dried out in the summer months. We've basically done some groundworks, so if there's a drain, we'll try and block the drain. If there's a large expanse that's sort of dried out, cracking peat, we'll try and put a contour bund in its root, which is like a long linear wall of peat that sits a little bit proud of the surface, so it just forms a very shallow pool of water behind it upslope that just saturates that ground basically, and it just means then in the summer months when the water inevitably does draw down, it doesn't draw down quite as far.
Well, I'm joined here now by Dr. Peter Jones, who is from Natural Resources Wales, working on the National Peatland project. How important are the peatlands here in Wales?
Peatland habitats are of huge significance because they support a characteristic biodiversity, wildlife. They're also our most significant terrestrial store of carbon, and they play an absolutely vital role in regulating the emissions of greenhouse gases to the atmosphere.
Don't step there, that's a bit deeper.
So we've just risked the walk across here where we've got all the water, because you wanted to show me some of the sphagnum moss.
So where we've got the deeper water here, this is a species called Sphagnum cuspidatum. Tends to form in waterlogged areas basically, but then back here we've got Sphagnum capillifolium. It's a really beautiful one. It looks like someone's doused it with a bottle of red wine. It's got a lovely colour to it.
And Pete, they play a really important role, don't they?
They're really significant because they hold around about 20 times of their own weight in water, and they're very good at hanging on to that water in times of drought.
So what can be learnt in terms of wider land management?
The places that do support peat, I think it's important wherever we can to manage those in a way that safeguards that really important carbon storage and hopefully carbon accumulation function. And that aspiration is completely compatible with a lot of other activity. So, for example, the vast majority of the semi-natural peatland resource in Wales occurs in agriculturally managed contexts, mostly grazing. That's a very important form of land use. As climate change really begins to bite in the summer, they've got the potential to support enough plant growth to sustain grazing longer into the summer season, and that's a really important part of the management of many of those ecosystems.
Dr. Peter Jones from Natural Resources Wales. The government's published fresh guidance for farmers and food businesses to help them prepare for the new sanitary and phytosanitary, or SPS, agreement between the UK and the EU. It's expected to take effect in a year's time. It's supposed to make trade easier with fewer checks and less paperwork. But there are still many points in the agreement to iron out. Tom Bradshaw is president of the NFU.
For a lot of our members at the moment, this feels quite abstract because they don't know exactly what rules are going to be in place. They don't know whether we're going to lose access to plant protection products, which they're busy using in their fields at the moment. We don't know what transition arrangements are going to look at, which will impact what products we can use next year. We don't know whether we're going to have a carve out for things like gene editing, which we're really pushing for because the UK could be genuinely world leading in that area. So while the government may be saying it's important that you plan, until you know what the rules are and when it's going to be implemented from and what transition arrangements look like, it's very, very difficult to prepare.
There are a few things that we've moved away from the EU, haven't we, since Brexit? For instance, gene editing, precision breeding, as it's known also. How much of a barrier could that be to future trade?
I don't think it should be a barrier at all, Anna, but so much of this depends now on the politics of the EU. The EU are suggesting that they want to adopt that technology. And what I'm pleading with EU counterparts that I'm meeting and EU ambassadors is please don't apply the handbrake to the UK. Please don't stop us progressing with research and development in those areas. Because if you genuinely want access to this technology in the EU, then if you successfully stop us, it could be years before you ever have the ability to take advantage of it. Whereas if the UK can forge ahead, then the pressure is on the EU to catch up with us as quickly as possible. And we desperately need that EU market to make a go of gene edited crops. We're going to need access to the EU market to make it scalable and make it something which is an attractive investment for our seed houses and our plant breeding companies.
What about the transition period? Farmers and food producers are being alerted now, saying it's going to come in mid-2027. But if it isn't transitioned in gradually, it'll be basically a cliff edge, won't it? Is that going to happen?
CropLife International did the modelling around the cliff edge scenario for plant protection products and suggested it could cost over £800 million to the industry. We have been absolutely clear with DEFRA to spell out where we see the need for transition arrangements. But if there are no transition arrangements, it's going to be very complicated because the grain that's going to be harvested this July and August may well still be in stock after the deal takes place. So we need proper transitional arrangements to make sure that we can use up the products that are already in store and the crops that have been grown using those products which aren't currently registered in the EU. And it's not to say that those new products, that new chemistry isn't safe. It is absolutely safe for the user, for the environment, for the food that's being produced. But our regulatory system has worked, whereas the regulatory system in the EU hasn't yet got those products registered.
I'm going to ask you one question about SFI. DEFRA has just produced its latest farming blog on SFI, Sustainable Farming Incentive 2026. The scheme is opening for smaller farmers and people who haven't applied before. Is it ready to roll, and what should farmers be doing?
We're still very concerned that we don't have enough detail. We don't know how big the budget is for June. The publication we've seen today is long overdue, and that level of clarity that members need across England, it's simply not there at this moment in time. I mean, it's the lack of information, it's the lack of clarity, it's the lack of transparency. I feel like a broken record the number of times that we've asked for this, and the delays in getting it out don't give us the confidence that everything is ready to roll. But there's certainly going to be thousands of farmers. We really worry that the demand is massively going to outstrip the available budget, both in June and in the September window. We will be meeting the Minister this week to have these conversations.
Tom Bradshaw, President of the National Farmers Union. We did ask DEFRA to respond, but they didn't reply in time. That's all from us. I'm Anna Hill. The producer was Rebecca Rooney. Farming Today is a BBC Audio Bristol production.